heavy tyre, a heavy vehicle tyre. So I don't know what that's being used for. Sorry, my darling, best I can do.
Let's look at your results. I know you make no claims for accuracy, but it's still interesting that you examined 6 objects, you got no information from 3 of them, and you got incorrect information from the remaining 3. I wonder what the police would make of that.
I'm going to try to explain all that I do by logic.
Oh, no.
What I do is illogical.
It's been a most intriguing demonstration, and we'd like to thank you very much, Nella, for taking part. As Nella says, psychics often offer information to help the police with their investigations, and the police acknowledge this, although they say they never approach psychics themselves, and there are no official police psychics. Last August, New Scotland Yard set up a special review to investigate the use of information received from psychics. The police told us there is no recorded instance of psychics solving a criminal case or providing evidence or information which led directly to its solution. They also said they do not endorse psychics in any way. If this is the case, the question remains, should the police spend time and money following up the information that psychics offer? Isn't it time there was a clear policy on this? The popular press are quick to okay any opportunity to promote the psychic's claims to help the police, but rarely investigate the results. During the hunt for the Yorkshire Ripper, the Sunday People asked a leading medium what the Ripper looked like. She produced this likeness, said his name was Johnny or Ronnie, and declared that he lived in Tyneside or Wareside. All wrong. Later, the Daily Star joined the circus by consulting another medium who provided psychic drawings of the Ripper's friends, relatives, and even his car mechanic. Also wrong. One wonders why the newspapers insist on perpetrating this nonsense when the police themselves do not endorse it. And perhaps uncritical press coverage like this encourages anxious friends and relatives to take information offered by psychics too seriously. In our studio today is Mary Asprey, a longtime friend of the Lamplugh family, whose estate agent daughter, Susie, disappeared 5 years ago. Mary, you've had quite a few connections with quite a few psychics over the years, haven't you?
I certainly have.
And have they helped you at all?
I think that in many ways they have helped.
Now, what is this suitcase we have here?
This suitcase, plus the suitcase behind me, is filled with letters from, I prefer to call people intuitive people that wrote to either the police or to the Lamplugh family, suggesting things that might have happened to Susie Lamplugh. You have to remember that Susie is missing. She's still missing. Nobody knows what happened. For Diana Lamplugh, and for myself, who was a friend, some of these letters gave us a new lead, a new idea, the police also a new thought.
I see.
And it has been extremely helpful. What
see.
I have done is act as a buffer for the family, which I think has been very important, because although most of the psychics have been incredibly sensitive if they have phoned the family with information, and one thing I would ask them not to ever phone a family direct, try and speak to a friend, because it's very distressing. But one of the things I really feel one should sort of think is that don't dismiss anything.
And Christine Boxall is a different case altogether. I understand that your young son, Lee, vanished some 2 years ago. What have the psychics done for you, Christine?
I've been to many psychics, different mediums and clairvoyants. Some have told me that he's dead, and some have told me he's alive. It's really distressing when they tell me that he's dead, but you see, I've got to know one way or another where he is. I mean, we just, at the end of the day, just don't know where he is.
And Christine, have the psychics managed to find your son?
No.
They haven't?
No.
Well, I want to thank Mrs. Asprey and Mrs. Boxall for coming here tonight. I earnestly hope that these missing children can be found. Despite suitcases full of letters from hundreds of psychics and years of following these leads, Lee Boxall is still missing. Susie Lamplugh is still missing. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the evidence. Make up your own minds. I'm James Randi. Good night. Tonight, we'll investigate whether it's science or pseudoscience. But first, I'd like the assistance of a gentleman, someone with a good wristwatch. Let's take a look at this good-looking bunch over here. May I see? What have you got in the way of a wristwatch? Oh, no, too cheap. That one's far too expensive. Oh, that one would be fine, sir. Would you join me over here on the floor? You can come over and stand on the star spot with me. Would you be kind enough to take that wristwatch off your wrist? Now, this watch says, I believe, about 2 minutes past 9, which agrees with my watch, right? Now, I want you to open up your hand like that, if you would, please, flat. The clean one would be better, I think, yeah. Oh, that one's clean enough. All right, put the finger of your other hand on the back of it like that. Excellent. Now we're going to concentrate. You must help me on this. Now, I don't have to make the noises, but the magic circle likes it, you see. It makes it look more expensive. And you get paid more if they think it's psychic. But this is a really remarkable thing. Let me take a peek at it. Not yet. You're not working hard enough. It's not my fault. It's yours. Oh, very good. I saw the effort going out. Let me take... What time does it now say, sir?
5 past 8.
5 minutes past 8, and only a moment ago it was 2 minutes past 9. A miracle, I think you'll agree. Well, that may have looked as if I was in touch with hidden forces. Not so. Any of you could do just as I did with a little practice. So beware when you meet people who say they have powers. So tonight, astrology. It's a very seductive idea. It would be wonderful to believe that everything from your bank balance to an international war was really influenced by the planets. My first guest is an astrologer whose work is read by millions of people in Britain every day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jonathan Kaner. Tell me, Jonathan, who do you write for?
I write for Today newspaper in this country, Today newspaper, Woman magazine, Mirabella, and Living.
I have a question for you. You know, are we really supposed to believe that everything you write for, say, a Capricorn is going to happen to 1/12 of the total population of the world that next day?
Well, let me ask you something, James. You come from the other side of the Atlantic. Would you say that Canadians and Americans have different characteristics to each other?
Yes, they do.
So up to a point, there are differences between Capricorns and Aquarians, and certain things I can say about them. But I would, as is obvious from what I've just asked you, say that there are also a lot of things you couldn't say just from that kind of information.
Well, how would you do a more accurate reading?
All right, well, to do that, you're going to need somebody's date of birth, their time of birth, and their place of birth. And then you're going to need to draw up a great big map of the sky. And by analyzing where all the different planetary positions are, you can start to say something that makes a lot more personal sense.
So you say that a reading of this kind would be accurate and individual enough for the person to recognize themselves?
I would hope so.
Right. Well, Jonathan has kindly agreed to put his talents to the test this evening. We have taken the birth date information from every person in the audience tonight, and before the show, we gave you the details of one person selected from that audience. So please give us your reading for that person.
Okay. Well, I don't know who I'm addressing here, but I know that the person who owns the horoscope that I've been looking at has a very unusual horoscope. This horoscope is unusual, and it suggests to me that you are a very extrovert person, unusual, larger than life, full of confidence, with a very zany sense of humor, and generally a kind of way of being different, eccentric, controversial. You will kind of enjoy the limelight that comes from when it's revealed that it's you. You won't feel too shy or ashamed of it. And one more thing I should also say, there's something about you which is rather professorial and intellectual, and it makes me think that we're dealing with someone who's had a